Have you made the switch to a pruner? You may want to after this. This is the Milwaukee model number 2534, and it's their M12 Pruning Shear. Let's dive right in, take a look at these details, and we've got some cool features we want to discuss and some maintenance items, if you will. And then, as always, we'll come back and talk about pricing, about warranty, and what we thought of the performance. We got to see this a few months ago at the Milwaukee Pipeline event, and it's a very simple tool that's very effective as well. But there are some cool features on this that we want to get details on, as well as we want to show you a couple of maintenance items as well that may come in handy for down the road. This is the model number 2534, and it's the M12 Brushless Pruning Shears. It's not an M12 fuel, which doesn't mean a lot in a tool like this, but anyway, it does have a brushless motor, obviously running on their M12 12-volt battery. And the cool thing about this tool is, yes, you could run it on the higher capacity batteries if you wanted to. It really doesn't need the performance, and it really doesn't need the capacity, because they're saying like 1,000 half-inch cuts on a 2-amp-hour battery. I don't know, if you're going to be doing more than that, and if you are, then obviously you could run this. But for the most part, most people probably get by absolutely fine with the smaller capacity battery. So it's a much lighter tool, much more nimble tool with this little 2.5 amp hour in there versus the higher capacity. Now let's take the cover off the end here, and so you see it's a pretty simple looking pruning shear. And right now the jaws are closed, and to actually open them, we have to power the unit on, and it's a simple push of a button. So push the power button, it comes on, we get the green light, and we have a mode button. And those two mode buttons, or that single mode button, is going to control two different modes, and it's real tough here to remember: full mode and half mode. Yep, that's right. So hopefully you can remember that, full and half. And basically, we have a safety button. I'm going to open up these jaws, but I'll go over this right now. So there's a trigger there, and if I pull the trigger, even though I have the battery on, even though I have the power button pressed, pulling the trigger doesn't do anything. I have to press the safety first and then pull the trigger, and all I got to do is bump the trigger, and it's going to open up those jaws. Now, to close the jaws, or to actually cut something, if I just press the trigger, it's only going to move as long as I hold the trigger. So you see, if I let go during the middle of that, it's going to come back. So hold it all the way, goes all the way down, let go, it will return. Again, hold it down, goes all the way, let go, it returns. Now right now it is in full mode, so that's opened up to full capacity. Now full capacity is supposed to be 1 1/4 inches. Well, not sure where that 1 1/4 inches is measured, but let's check that out. So it looks like right here at the tip. Let's see here. Yeah, that's about right. I mean, I was wondering if it would be all the way out here, but no, it looks like it's kind of right in the cutting area. Let's see here. 1.25 will be 1 1/4 inches. So 1 1/4 inches right there. So looks like you can get 1 1/4 inches limb in there and it be able to cut that. So that is full capacity, or that's the full mode. So if I go into half mode, and you see now it returns half. Now the cool thing about that is not just that you can cut half the amount of diameter, but it's a lot faster. It's like 40% faster, because to return it has to go halfway. So if you're cutting a lot of small limbs, which most of the time I would think your pruning is probably going to be in that 1/2 inch range, then you can set it to this half mode and just go to town of doing your small pruning. And then when you need to, go back to full mode, and there you go. So very easy to switch between that full and half mode. Also, if you leave the tool for an extended amount of time, it will automatically shut off, so you don't have to worry about it. And if you want to return the tool into the closed mode, so you want to put the cover back on the shears, that's not going to go on with the shears open. Oh, wow, it does. That's pretty cool. So you can put the cover with the shears open. That's great to know. But if you want to close those and leave it, there's a couple of ways you can do this. So hold the button down and then just press the power button. And now when you release, the jaws are closed. Another simple way, I could see this being in the field, you make your last cut. Let's turn this back on. So you make your last cut, just pull the battery out, and there you have it. So now you're ready the next time. And by the way, when you return or when you turn the tool back on, it's going to stay in the mode you had it in. So if you had it in half mode, it will return or it will power on in half mode. If you had it in full mode, it's going to turn back on in full mode. We also have a typical M12 fuel gauge right there for the battery. Turn that on, and when I pull the trigger, you see we get our indicator, our 4 indicator lights there telling us the status charge of the battery. And also included on the tool is this wrist strap, so you can kind of have it dangling off your wrist if you want to. That will come on the tool, and you can obviously take that off if you want. Now quickly, let's get a general measurement of the tool. So front to back, looking at about 14.5 inches, and width-wise, it's a pretty narrow tool, about 2.5 inches at its widest point. It's a very light tool as well, but we'll go ahead and get an actual weight. With the 2 amp hour battery, 3 pounds, 3.5 ounces, so less than 3.5 pounds. That's actually 3.25 pounds with the battery on it, so very light tool. So let's talk about down the road. So you've made a few thousand cuts and you're noticing some performance drop off. It's not cutting as quickly. You've probably got a dull blade. There's a couple of things we can do there. Number one, we can replace this blade. Number two, we could actually sharpen the blade. Well, to do that, we need to open these jaws. So let's quickly open those up, pull the battery out. We'll go over a couple of things. Number one, so now the jaws are fully open in the full mode, so we got them open as far as possible. You could probably get in there with a small file and actually dress that edge on that blade and probably get by and keep on cutting. If you wanted to do that, you could definitely do it. Just be very careful not to hit this edge here. You want that edge nice and flat, not rounded, not beveled, so you wouldn't want to hit that with the file. Also, when sharpening, you never want to sharpen this side. You may want to take it with the flat side and keep it nice and flat if there's a burr on it, but you don't want to bevel on this side. You only want the bevel on this side. There's another opportunity. You could take like a Dremel tool or the M12 rotary tool with a little drum on it or a stone on it, and you could dress that blade up a little bit that way as well, but again, try not to get into that. And then if you don't want to sharpen it, or you want to actually sharpen it on a vise or something like that, or just replace this blade, because Milwaukee does offer replacement blades as well. Well, to do that, it's pretty simple, but we do have to put the battery back in, power this up, and now we've got the jaws closed, and you see 3 Allen head screws here. Now, the manual says that we need to take all 3 of those out. We do not have to do that. So we're going to take these 2 out here. These are 5mm hex, so 5mm Allen wrench. And by the way, these 2 here have some blue Loctite on them, but they let go not too bad. A little bit of force, they let go. Now, it may be in a case like in this, it's pretty tough to get that out. It's nice and stiff. If we opened it up, we may be able to get it out, but then it hides these screws back into this plastic cover. We don't want to do that. This screw here, you do not have to take this out. Give it a couple of half turns, and then that will come out. And you see the horseshoe shape here does not require that we have to pull that screw all the way out. Now I'll tell you what it does do. So let's put that back in so we can put our new blade back in. And by the way, with that blade worn, you may be able to pull that out with that screw tight. However, one moment, let's get these tight. Get those nice and snug. And you'll see here, there's some play in those jaws. And the reason is, this is your tensioner right here. So this actually sets the tension on those 2 blades. So you want to get those nice and snug. And now it'll take the tension out of that. But you don't have to take that all the way out. Now let's take this out and actually use it and see how well it does. So we'll start here with some crepe myrtles. They're some of the biggest pain to cut, whether you're using a pruning blade with a Sawzall or even using a small chainsaw. They can just be very rubbery and just a pain. So we'll go ahead, power up. We're in full mode. No problem at all. Let's go to half mode. These are small enough. Yeah, that makes it a lot quicker. So still in half mode. We'll switch back to full mode, getting into the heavier stuff. Very quick, single pass. Looks like it hung up on that one. Back to smaller. So definitely these smaller. No problem. But these larger, a little bit more difficult. With the second approach, it will get it. Another real pain, especially here in Florida, are these palmetto bushes or like palm tree limbs. They're very fibrous and really get caught up in saws. So if you can do it with a pruning shear, wow, that makes it very quick. Usually these things are very stringy, as you can see there. If I pull one off there, you see how stringy they get. But with this, very quick. Okay, thought we'd give a real quick measurement to the couple that it had a little bit of trouble with. So it looks like right at capacity, some places a little more than capacity. So I'm still impressed, again, with these crepe myrtles. They're just a pain in the tail. And then these palmetto limbs, anybody with these knows exactly what I'm talking about. Very fibrous and just a pain to cut with any saw because it likes to get bound up in the teeth. But the pruning shear was the perfect match for this. We thought the M12 pruning shear did very well. It cut right at the capacity they said it would. And again, cutting those crepe myrtles, cutting those palmetto bushes, those are just a pain to do. I'm sure there's other harder woods out there as well, but we wanted to touch on some of the pain in the tails that we actually encounter from time to time. So we think it does very well. It's much easier to just clip, 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 clip than running a saw and again getting fibers caught in the saw and a rotating blade, things like that. You still have to look out for the shear. Obviously, it could take a finger off as well, but the safety features do a very good job of making sure that you're ready to cut before it actually accidentally runs, if you will. Also easy to maintain this, replace blades if you want to. By the way, a replacement blade runs about 30 bucks, as well as they have a full holster as well where you can put on your belt to slide the whole thing in, and that's going to run about $30 also. Now, pricing on this is $199 as a bare tool, so no battery, no charger, $199. The better buy really is $249, and that's going to give you the charger, the tool, and a 2 amp hour battery as well. Not the high capacity, I just had this for show and tell, if you will. But anyway, so $249 is going to get you the battery and the charger. Now, this shouldn't come out until sometime in August, probably middle of August. I believe I looked on Acme Tools and ship date was like August 10th. We'll have a link in the description. If you want to go ahead and pre-order, you can do so, or if you just want to check it out, you can do that as well. 3-year warranty on this tool. Check it out for yourself. Also, keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. And if you don't mind, would you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already? And by all means, did you hate our video? Well, then give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day. Keep smiling.